Yeah, YouTubers, Tasman here, bringing you a new series. So, as you know, a little while ago, Foundry Virtual Tabletop version 12 has been released, and I was thinking I'm going to try and do a tutorial system or I don't know, user guide, however you want to call it, but it's going to cover kind of four types of videos. One will be the Foundry core, where we'll go over all the different core aspects and what Foundry actually is. Then I was thinking maybe we'll do two of the systems. Two of the more common ones or popular ones might be Pathfinder 2E and Dungeons & Dragons 5E, of course. And we're also looking to do a... Actually, I guess there's even more. The simple world building, I think is what it's called. Simple world building. And the reason I want to show that one is mostly just to show actually what Foundry Core is. I think it will give you great appreciation for the people that actually are making these systems to see what Core Foundry actually is, because it really is not that much. I mean, it's a lot, but the systems that people are building take, that core functionality and really help it blossom a lot. So we're going to do that. And then also we're going to do modules. We're going to cover modules for both Pathfinder and also for Dungeons & Dragons. And technically, I guess a bunch of them might even be more system agnostic, where it doesn't matter what system it is. So I think that's kind of my goal for this series. And what I'll do is basically my splash screens that usually pop up at the beginning of the video might have something labeled like core when it's just the core mechanics. I forgot. Also player, a simple setup or a simple guide basically for Pathfinder and D&D 5e for players, and then one set also for the GM. So it will say GM videos. I don't know. I haven't totally decided, but I know this is actually coming out quite a bit after 12 has actually been released. But the reason I've kind of done that is because I want to also make sure that a bunch of the mods are actually available. So when we get into those, we actually have functioning mods. And lots of the mods that I'm looking to use are now 12 compatible, which is awesome, because I'm almost ready to change my games that I run into 12, because the 11 ones aren't being updated as much anymore, but there are just a couple left. All right, so first thing also, before we jump into it, I guess maybe this is the second thing I'd like to talk about really quick is I'm going to be doing this on a third-party host. Part of the reason for that is just for the convenience. If I ever want to open the table up and let you guys explore it or anything like that, I want to have a really quick way of doing that. So I am using Molten Hosting. And if you're looking for a third-party host, they've got incredible, in fact, I could pull them up. They've got incredible pricing. I'll just go up here because I know the URL. MOLTENHOS. I can't type. So moltenhosting.com. So here you can see Molten Hosting. And if you look at their plans here, $4 for a basic plan. Gives you 5 gigs of storage. You have to provide your own license. On any plan that I know of, you have to provide your own license. So this will give you unlimited worlds, basically, as long as it fits in that 5 gigs. Gives you WebDAV and browser-based file management. This is one of the key things for me, is that I can use my FTP client. I use WinSCP, and I can actually upload, all my assets, my worlds, and all that fun stuff, and also, download to back it up. They do have a 1 hour idle shutdown, so if the server goes idle for an hour, the server will shut down. This is just to help save, so they can provide us with these really low prices. And then they do weekly backups and email support. And each of these tiers actually going up give you a little bit more. And kind of, if it's not mentioned, like WebDAV isn't mentioned here, but it's everything in here. Actually, it says right here, everything in the basic tier. But then they have a 2 hour idle shutdown and customer support through Discord and nightly backups. That's another thing. I know a lot of people really look at customer support as a very important thing. I've had very few issues with my server, but when I have had issues, I've gone into Discord, created a ticket. Within no time at all, maybe an hour or so tops, I get a response, and I get my server back up pretty darn quick. So very, very good customer service. And then of course the 12.1, 20 gig storage, everything that's in those two. But you also get a second server slot. You can't have both servers up at the same time, but what they're kind of expecting you to do is use one for development, or, for testing. If I want to have Foundry VTT version 13, if they actually have it available, or something like that, then you can actually do it on that second slot without messing up your first one. And then it has a 3-hour idle shutdown time and on-demand backups. This is actually the tier I use because $12 a month. That is incredible. And then if you ever want to increase storage, you can actually increase it. It goes up 10 gigs at a time for an additional $4. So I don't think you can beat that. That is just awesome. So I'm not really sponsored by Molten Hosting, but anytime I see something that is just outstanding, I definitely want to shine the light on them and say kudos. So anyway, that's where we're actually going to be running our server. And like I've said, I've used them now for probably 2 years and have had very few problems. The problems I have had, we've got resolved really quick. All right, but now what you're actually here for, let's talk about that. Foundry VTT. So if you go to foundryvtt.com, you'll be greeted a page like this, and you can see, click on the purchase. It will take you to how much it costs, and you can see $50 will get you a license. That license covers, so far it's covered everything that they've ever done. I don't know if they ever released Foundry VTT 2 and then the version after that. Maybe that'll cost again, but I've been using Foundry VTT since it was in beta, and now we're on 12, and I've received every single update for free. So really good there. I know in the past I've also done videos on Fantasy Grounds versus Foundry VTT, and one of the biggest things is Fantasy Grounds is really pretty expensive. Your players can connect for free, however they do have to have the Foundry client with Fantasy Grounds client. For Foundry, all they have to do is have a web browser, and they connect for free. So that $50 is for a license the GM uses, and that's all you need. Once you've downloaded it, we'll assume you've done it. You can come into your account up here. I'm not going to do it because it'll show keys and stuff, and I don't want to do that. But you'll go in there, and you'll actually find the place you can download. You can also find your license key. Once you have it installed, you will be greeted with a page that asks for your server, your license key, and then after that it will ask you for the administrator. Well, actually, no, I don't think it does that. But once you're all done with that, you'll basically have a, why is this frozen? I don't know. I'm gonna hit refresh on that. You'll be basically a page that looks similar to this. Now, one other thing I'd really like to cover really quick is you might notice everything's kind of compressed. When you do it, you'll probably actually have this whole bar over here, and it will be on the side. The reason I do that is because when you're watching this on YouTube and you try and make it full screen, you'll actually get larger stuff. A lot of people record these on really super wide screens, and when you try and make it full screen, you have a giant black bar above and below, and really you don't get to see much more detail. So I'm trying to make this so it's as friendly to you guys as possible, so that you can, when you make it big, it actually gets big and you can read the stuff in it. All right, now for reals this time, we're going to jump into this. So once you get all logged in, you'll be greeted with a page like this. Probably won't have any little circle with a 42 in it. If you do, something's really wrong, because this is usually talking about your module warnings and errors and stuff like that. But you'll have this, and you're under this game system tab. Let's first go over, well, we can't go to game worlds because we don't have any, and we don't have any game systems. So let's talk about the interface itself here. So obviously we have the news, we have featured content. These are just links you can click. They'll open in a new window. Down at the bottom we can see our version and the build version, or the build, yeah, I guess build version works. And then up at the top is where I was showing you, we have our warnings that tell us, oh, all these things are having issues. And this is because I have a lot of modules already installed in this. So then when we get to that part, we're not taking a whole 2 videos to go download a whole bunch of stuff. And this list might actually change, but that list is getting considerably smaller. It used to be like 83, I think it was, and now it's down to 42. So this will always tell you what's wrong. It'll tell you what module is causing the error, and then it will also give you the error. So this is really handy to have. And then you can click on Manage Package, which will take you to the actual package. The next screen over, this one's kind of important. This is one I like to set up, especially with a third-party host, because they have a really big password that you use to log in. And it, I like to change that as soon as possible to something that I want and that I can remember. So if we click on configure here, you'll see we get this little pop-up window. And the first thing I always do is I go change the administrator password. If you're doing this on your own server, you can actually change where the data path is. The data path is where your worlds are going to be, your modules are going to be, and all that stuff. So, put them wherever you want. You just put the path. Share data usage. This is the standard kind of thing where it says, hey, you want to share your information with us to just let us know, if there's errors or whatever, it will automatically send it to us. We'll be able to make Foundry a better thing. So you can check that if you want. Then, of course, we have our theme. Right now we have the default Foundry Virtual Tabletop theme, but there's also a classic fantasy and a science fiction. Our default world, if we only have one world in our thing, we can actually select it down in this drop down. We don't have any worlds right now, which is actually your campaigns or games. So we don't have anything listed there. Your default language, you'll see that English is the default. Your port, you can change this. The default is 30,000. And of course, you probably already know what enable UPnP is. I'm not going to go into great detail. This is just the universal plug and play. Yeah, I'm not going to go into all that. That's a whole nother topic to go into. We also have compressed static files. This will help, as you can see, it'll reduce the amount of data that needs to be transferred. So if I'm sending a map from my server or, from the host to a client, it quickly compresses it, sends it, and then expands it. So usually when you compress things, you decrease the size of them so they transfer faster. The compressed WebSocket data, kind of the same thing, but this is just with the WebSocket data itself. It's usually this will increase your network performance, how much chatting between the server and that is. Then we have delete migrated NEDB files. If this is your first version and you're in version 12, NEDB is the old database system that they used in older versions of Foundry 11 and prior. Now they use the NEDB prior, they used LevelDB. NEDB was prior to that, and it's just the way it saves it. What this will do is, if it's unchecked, it will kind of save when you migrate from 11 to 12. It will actually save that information and just kind of replicate it so it doesn't actually delete it. We don't have any previous files on this, so we're just going to leave that checked. Then we have hot reload package files. As you can see, this is what it does. We also have SSL certificate. If you, a lot of times if you're running a voice server, you might end up having something like this. I really don't use that much. And then this is for your Amazon Web Services and the configuration path for that. So technically all we've really done and all that you might do is just change your administrative password to something that's easier for you to type in and remember, because the one they give you is just a whole string of random characters, really hard to remember. Once you're done, you'll hit save. It might actually have you reload the screen or reload Foundry, put in your password, and then you can move on. All right, so the next one here, this is for updates. Anytime there's updates, there will be a little exclamation point, kind of like this, but it'll be a little exclamation point telling you that there is something new. We can come in here, and you can see this is update software. So as you can see, we're currently running version 12 stable build 330, and we're using the update channel of stable. You technically can, I believe I think might be the testing is available to non-patrons. It might be developed. One of those are actually available where you can actually play with it before it's had its official release. But stable will be the official release. If you're a patron, you actually have even earlier access to play with it. All you have to do once you've come in here is you just click check for update. It'll then pop up a screen saying begin download. I will say if you're upgrading from 11 to 12, you can't do it this way. You actually have to go to the Foundry VTT website and actually download the package from inside your account information, because it has some things that it just can't update just using the web. So once you've done that, you'll be on your new version. It will go ahead and restart Foundry once again for you, so you won't necessarily have to hit return to setup or anything. If you're doing it third party like I am, you will actually want to go and reset the refresh the web page. And let's see, so let's go ahead, we'll return setup. And the final thing here is to log out. So I'm going to actually start kind of backwards. We're going to start with the add-on modules. I'm just going to show you really quick, a quick rundown of the modules we could be going over. Some of them might not update to 12, so we obviously won't do those. And then we'll do the game systems, then we'll go to game worlds, create our own world, and jump in and start looking at it there. So in each of these things, under add-on modules and game system, you'll have these options to show how it's displayed. We have our big card, I guess is what we'll call that. We have our smaller tiles, and then we have our details, which is even bigger. It's like the big card and a whole bunch of data. I like this one because it's just nice and small. As you can see, there's a lot of modules in here. Any ones that have the green box on them mean that they are currently running in 12, verified and working. Gray means that they might work, but they're not necessarily verified. They're not designed for 12. Obviously, red means it's not unsupported by this core version. Yellow means maybe it might cause issues. So as you can see, when I first loaded up version 12, all of this was pretty much either yellow and red and gray. The gray means it really doesn't track it as much. It's definitely turning more green, which is really good. So we have over here, we have our filter for our modules, and one that I highly recommend getting no matter what system you're running is called JBA. And JBA, oh, J2BA, I think. J2BA. Is that it? Do I not? All right, JB2A. Why can I not think of it? There we go. JB2A is what it is. So there is this free one. I believe that's what this one is like their macros. Or not macros. the animated assets. This is what it is, Jules and Ben's animated assets, and this is the free version. And what this does is make it so like when I cast a fireball, it actually does a little animation of a fireball. And so far, all the systems that we are going to be covering actually work with this, so very handy. So yeah, there's the search right there, and it only searches through what we actually already have installed. We have the install module button, which obviously will install a module. If you are finding a third-party module that's not in here, they might give you what's called a manifest URL. If you just paste this in here and hit install, it will go ahead and install that module for you. But it won't necessarily ever update because it's not actually in the Foundry module system. As you see, there are 2,513 modules in here. These span across ones that are pay. If they have a little lock and say not owned, it means they're paid. You can see when they're installed, or if you need to install them. You can also click on any of these orange links and it will take you to the page so you can actually see what they actually do and stuff. You can sort them. Very, very simple sorts is simply I can see what is only installed, only not installed, or just show me all the packages. And you can actually just click these and unclick these to get them gone. There we go. As you can see, the categories are over here. You can see there's just a ton of modules. You can go through this. I wish this actually had a better sorting and filtering system, but unfortunately it doesn't. Maybe they'll do that in the future. So, oh, I forgot. So to install a module, all you do is click that install button and it will install it. I think that's pretty much it. And then anytime, a habit that I always get into is when I first launch Foundry, I will go to my game system tab, click update all, and then I'll go to my module tab and click update all. This right here is if you're making your own module. There's a lot to that, so we're not actually going to go into this, but as you can see, it actually has a lot of features that is outside of the scope of this series. All right, so let's go to game systems now. We're actually going to install a couple game systems to show you how it is. Everything else is the same. We still have the types of tiles. This one usually I do the gallery view because there's a lot less of these, but the modules we're going to actually install is going to be, of course, D&D 5e. So we have Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. We're just going to click install. We're going to do Pathfinder 2e, so PF2e. So Pathfinder 2nd edition, we're going to go ahead and install that. And then, like I said, we're going to have one that just can give us an example or show us what the core system is without any bells and whistles, without any system itself. And that's called the simple world building system. And this is actually created by Atropos, who is the person that created Foundry for us. So it's very, very bare bones. That's all I can really say. So now that we have these, we can actually click on the Game Worlds tab because there's a system that we can actually link to it. So we're going to go to Game Worlds. Once again, we have Install World. Clicking this, you'll see that there are actually some worlds that is pre-done for you. A lot of them are in other languages, but there are a couple in here I believe that I know of, like the Sky Isles. I think it was the Ponteville Bridge here. That one's in Spanish. I think those are the two big ones that are D&D 5e, if I remember right. Yeah, that's D&D 5e. And I'm pretty sure this one's D&D 5e as well. So those are just pre-built worlds. Not very many of those yet, but that could change. I think people can actually make those. But what we're going to do is go ahead and make our own. So we're going to go ahead and click Create World. It's really simple to create. We're going to call this Simple because it's the simple world building. The data path is a data worlds. Now, when you install it, remember how I showed you that if I click on here, you can see that here's my Foundry VTT, where I've actually, it's in my documents right now. And you'll see there's this data. That's what that data is referring to. If I click in that, you can see I have, you can ignore a bunch of these because this isn't on the web. But this is a folder I created. Generally, you'll have very, very few. You'll have assets. No, you won't have assets. Sorry, you'll have modules. You'll, I think, have packs. You'll have systems. And you'll have worlds. That might be all. Don't quote me on that, though. But anyway, so here's where all your modules are. In modules, obviously. And your worlds will all be in worlds. And as you can see, I have a bunch of worlds in here as well. We're going to create one called simple, and it's going to be in data and then worlds that we just saw, and this is the name of the world. It automatically will try and create a folder as the name of that. You can change it if you want, but I usually just leave it the same. Then we choose our game system, simple world building. If we want to have like our login screen, basically, if we want to have a cool background, we can have a file for that. We can put a file in path2 file extension. So if we put it in assets that I was showing you, it would be data/assets/ maybe backgrounds, and then I could have one there. Our join page theme is either minimal or default. If it's default, it'll take up the whole page basically. If it's minimal, it'll just be a small little box. We can also set up information as far as the month, day, and year of our next session, and of course the time. And then we have this little editor here where we can actually add information, saying you are in Galarian because it's Pathfinder 2e or something, and on your way to Atari, or you're in the Abomination Vaults or something. You can have whatever description you want, and it has some basic things that you can do. You can put pictures, links. You can save it. Obviously, you can add HTML if you know that. Horizontal rules, numbers, and ordered lists. So ordered lists and unordered lists, I mean. You can add tables. You can do some basic fonts, not a ton. And then, of course, you can do headings, block information like block paragraph or code or whatever you want. Inline, and then alignments and stuff. So you can do some pretty cool stuff in there. I'm not going to do any of that. We're going to hit create world, and there we go. There's our first world. I'm going to go into just this because we're already at 27 minutes. I don't want this to be too long, but as you can see, it says world building. It is green, meaning that it is everything is up to date. If it's a different color, or if we update our system and this isn't updated, what will pop up is a little box right here saying that you need to update or migrate. So this is the default one. As you can see, it's a nice big window. The other thing I was going to show you real quick is what the other one looked like. So if we come into our thing, right click, we have options such as launch, edit, mark as a favorite, lock it so that it can't be updated and stuff, or we can even delete it. We're going to go back into edit, and I'm going to just show you really quick what the minimal is. So go down here now, hit save, and if we launch it, now you'll see we just have this tiny little box with the username and a password. So if you definitely don't have any of that description and all that stuff, you could just have it simple as this. Other words, you'll have a different background that you can add. You can have the information, time, date, all that fun stuff. All right, so I think this is where we're going to end this. I know it seems a little scatterbrainy the way I did this, and I apologize for that, but a lot of the things kind of depend on the other things to kind of describe them. So I hope I covered it in a way that was well enough for you to understand. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, or join my Discord channel and ask there. I'm usually pretty quick at answering those. But yeah, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to click that thumbs up button down below. Aside from that, comment, like, and subscribe. Join my Discord channel, like I said. Tell other people about my channel. Check it out. Let's grow this channel. And that is it, my friends. Until next time, I'll be seeing you later. Bye.